these aren't the only 5 by any means, right? Happy 5 Fact Friday. 5 Fact Friday. I'm Charlie Lambden, and it is 5 Facts. It is just after midnight, and it's Good Friday 2025. This is Moving Home with Charlie. I'm Charlie, and this is the weekly video when I share with you the 5 most significant facts of the week as far as the housing market is concerned, in my opinion. You may disagree. I welcome constructive disagreement. I'm going to be just taking it easy this evening, and it's a bit of a different one. I have got 5 facts to go through, and very quickly I'll run through those. So we have the Rightmove February, the Rightmove House Price Index. We have nationwide. No, that's the wrong one. Hang on a second. Right, start again. We do have Rightmove claiming record house prices again. We have leaseholders faced with a 400% service charge hike. I want to talk a little bit about leaseholds, and I've been getting a lot of buyers asking me about buying leaseholds. Fact number 3, employment growth has turned negative for the first time in it's actually since 2008. So since the global financial crisis. We'll talk about how that's going to affect the housing market potentially, with a little help from Sashi Yanshin. Number 4 is a slight reduction in UK inflation, including owner-occupying housing, but that's still up at 7.2%. Fact number 5, now Halifax has announced that it's easing its lending rules and allowing larger loans. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? We'll talk about it, and I will show you a fairly healthy and robust debate on X underneath my post about that between Housing Stig and Mark Tabrett, 2 pretty highly qualified data analyzers. It's an interesting argument. But before we get into the 5 facts, this is the current headline on Bloomberg UK. Beneath the market's uneasy calm, dread runs deep across Wall Street. And what they're referring to is the massive uncertainty in the global financial markets because of the Trump tariff chaos and uncertainty that's being unleashed. And it's put all of the world's most experienced traders into a position that they've never really been in before. And I'm seeing a lot of disagreement between very seasoned traders and financial commentators having disagreements about what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen. I don't think even Donald Trump knows what's going to happen. Today, he had his big ding-dong with the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell saying that guy needs to be fired because he's not cutting rates. And the relevance to this video is that I've had a few one-to-one calls, video calls that you guys book with me via my website and stuff. And if you want to, you can book, there's a link below, with buyers. And there are buyers right now, and I imagine there are a lot of you, who are as keen as ever to buy a home for all of the obvious reasons. And you're acknowledging that there are potential challenges ahead as far as the economy and employment is concerned, and the potential for quantitative easing or money printing to restart, and what's that going to do to house prices. But at the same time, the fixation with getting hold of a house, no matter what it takes, is, I think, causing a lot of buyers to be in a very dangerous situation. And for those of you who haven't seen it, and those of you who are trying to buy a house or thinking about buying a house with a mortgage, I want to urge you to watch the film, The Big Short. In a minute, in fact, at any moment now, I'm going to play the trailer for that. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to play you a clip from the end of the film that will be a spoiler. So if you want to watch the film, which I recommend you do, don't watch the clip at the end of this video. But it's a true story, and it's quite a shocking true story. It's a very entertaining film as well. So I'm going to start by playing the trailer for it, which is a couple of minutes. And and then we'll get into the 5 facts. So let's just play the trailer for The Big Short first. Hang on a second. Right. Let's get this nice and large on the screen.
Michael, how are you?
I found something really interesting.
The whole housing market is propped up on these bad loans. They will fail.
The housing market is rock solid.
It's a time bomb.
So Mike Burry, who gets his haircut at Supercuts and doesn't wear shoes, knows more than Alan Greenspan.
Dr. Mike Burry, yes, he does.
You know what? I'm pissed off. American people are getting screwed by the big banks. And I am getting madder and madder.
It's unbelievable.
Then this guy walks into my office and says,
there's some shady stuff going down. All the banks were having a big old party. A few outsiders saw what no one else could. The whole world economy might collapse.
I'm sure the world's banks have more incentives than greed.
you're wrong.
No one's paying attention.
The banks got greedy, and we can profit off of their stupidity.
You want to bet against the banks?
I think we're either high or having a stroke. Kind of brilliant.
Fraud has never, ever worked. Eventually, things go south. When the hell did we forget all that?
How can the banks let this happen?
It's fueled by stupidity.
But that's not stupidity, that's fraud.
Tell me the difference between stupid and illegal, and I'll have my wife's brother arrested.
You have any idea what you just did? You just bet against the American economy.
If you're wrong, you can lose it all. The banks defrauded the American people. Now we can kick them in the teeth.
Okay, here we go.
You target strippers.
With bad loans.
And they're all cash rich.
I'm not going to be able to refinance.
On all my loans,
What do you mean, all your loans?
I have 5 houses and a condo.
Yes, everyone who's thinking about buying a house should watch The Big Short. Now, if you would like to watch it, don't watch the end of this video where I'm going to play a clip from the end. But if you don't have time to watch it, you're not going to watch it, then please do watch the clip at the end of the video. But without further ado, let's get into... and by the way, the reason I'm saying this is because everything going on in the world financial markets and all the political uncertainty and everything, and all of the doomy, bad economic news, it's all feeling very, very crisis-y. You know what I mean? And it's like just waiting for something big to break or go wrong, and it could all go really wrong. And just, it's better to be aware of what can happen. And that film genuinely is quite shocking. If you weren't aware of it, and it's a completely true story, and the characters in there are real life people they're representing. Anyway, let's get through the 5 facts first of all. So, Rightmove this week, I did a video earlier in the week about this. The relentlessness of their new record asking price. I got an email from them today, and they're sending these emails to everyone, right? They're sending these emails to everyone, and the email says, house prices hit new record high. Okay, and the implication is that houses are selling for record prices, and that's not true. But when you don't have the enormous amount of time necessary to actually look behind the curtains of what's really going on, nobody pays attention to the housing market until they want to buy, and then they decide they want to buy, and they start looking, and that's what they see. And it leads into the problems very much covered in that film, The Big Short. But what is interesting to me about this month's Rightmove Outlook is that there are two things I want to point out here quickly. So they're saying that annual house prices have only gone up, their asking prices are only up 1.3% in the UK. In the same month that the ONS is claiming they've gone up 5%, that the average UK house price has gone up 5%. That is a very, very big disparity. In the video I did earlier this week, I explained it in a bit more detail, but that's one point. Secondly, they're saying that the monthly, so that 1.3% is year-on-year growth. They're saying that the monthly average asking price went up 1.4%. But actually, when you break that down by property type, down here at the bottom, for first-time buyers, the asking price only rose 0.3% in April. And they always go up a bit in April seasonally, right? Second step is 0.8%. And the top of the ladder, a whopping 3% jump in asking prices at the top of the ladder, or what Rightmove calls just under £700,000, right? And this is a symptom of the housing market's biggest problem, which is overvaluing. I had a very angry mortgage broker texting me this evening about overvaluing agents derailing deals. And overvaluing is a real problem, and it's one of the things that does lead the unaware and easily led buyers into overpaying. Anyway, that's Rightmove's facts for this week. Fact number 2. Story on the BBC about a town in Somerset where the service charge has gone up 400% to £4,000. I'm not going to spend long on this. I just want to show you one bit here, right? This is what can happen if you buy a leasehold. So this is one of the people quoted. Sonia Wilson-Hebben, who owns a 2-bedroom flat on the street, was horrified when her annual charge jumped from £800 a year to £3,800 a year. We were given no information about the extra costs, which were listed under very vague general maintenance categories, she said. And the management company has labelled the charges as budget rather than a service charge, which means we can't request transparency through Section 20 of the Housing Act, which would require a consultation process. In other words, we've just quintupled your service charge and we're not even going to tell you why. And this doesn't happen to all leaseholds, right? But a lot of it, especially first-time buyers who can't afford the freeholds in the areas that they want to live, are looking at leaseholds and going, well, it can't be that bad. I mean, people are buying them. And this is where I'm worried, because so many buyers are just, I can't find the words to describe it, completely obsessed about getting a home, which I totally understand and don't criticize. But I have had to have some very blunt conversations with the buyers who've come to me saying, hey, we've had our offer accepted on this house. Bit worried about it. What do you think? And I've ended up saying to them, for that house, that money, you need to walk away. Walk away. You're overpaying horribly. They're like, really? Really? Do you really think so? But we really want it. And we could stretch to it and we really want it. I'm like, listen, you must do whatever you think is right for you, but you're asking me for my view. And my view is you should run away from those. But that's the only one I can afford. There's a reason for that, right? No one else is buying it because it's got big problems and the price is too much, etc. So if you are looking at buying leasehold, just get someone who's very experienced to look at the lease. So your conveyancer should do it, but a lot of you don't have good conveyancers who won't bother doing this. If you've got a good conveyancer, you should ask them, what is the biggest liability I could face potentially under this lease, under the terms of this lease? Now, sometimes you get a converted house that's been converted into 2 or 3 flats. And the liability is limited, it's capped, and the risks are low. But in other bigger blocks with a management company, this is what can happen, right? That's what can happen. So I'm not saying don't buy leasehold, but I am saying It's a depreciating asset. It has uncertain service charges. And I've also heard of stories this week about where the true service charges have been actively concealed by the seller and the agent so as to not put the buyers off. So just proceed with extreme caution. And if you are a seller selling a leasehold property, then be transparent. Put it all up front, put it out there, because you're going to have a difficulty selling leasehold properties at the moment. So just be transparent about it, and that will improve your chances of getting it sold. If you try and cover it up, people are going to see through it. Right. So that's fact number 2. Fact number 3, and I'm going to rely a little bit on, hang on a second. Fact number 3 is, that's right, here we have it. So this week, the ONS announced PAYE and job data. And one of the things that they release is the exact number of people who are on PAYE, on payroll. And this is from real-time HMRC data. And they described this month's numbers as a small fall. It's a small fall. It's just a small fall, right? Or 70,000 employees. Now, this actually made me genuinely angry when I saw the just flagrant gaslighting. Look at this graph. This is a graph on Bloomberg, and it's what the ONS calls a small fall. It is the biggest fall in 17 years, excluding the pandemic. Small fall. It's a small fall. Nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. And I'm just going to play you 30 seconds of Sasha's reaction to this data. And go and watch this video.
Hey guys, it's Sasha. The number of jobs in the UK is now falling at the fastest rate since 2020, back when everybody was losing their job because of lockdowns. Excluding COVID, jobs are now being lost at the fastest rate since the 2008 financial crash. Who knew that a big increase in tax on jobs would result in the number of jobs falling, right? The 70,000 jobs lost in March is by far the largest single monthly drop in the last 10 years, excluding the first few months of COVID, or as the ONS puts it, the number of payrolled employees broadly stayed the same compared with March 2024 at 30.3 million, a small fall of 0.2% or 70,000 employees.
So I urge you to watch the whole of that video. And I haven't got a link in the description, but I'll put a link just quickly here in the live chat. There is the link to that video, and I urge you to watch it if you want to look at what's really happening. He gets into, it's all using official government data. He drills right down into some details. It's truly worrying, and he highlights what looks like an obvious and, again, flagrant misrepresentation of what's happening, especially in the food and hospitality industry. Have a look at it, because people are asking me, what do you think is going to happen with jobs? Sasha explains it better than I can. So that was fact number 3. Employment growth turns negative for the first time since 2008, with a big, big drop of people. Next, we have inflation. ONS inflation came out this week. And not going to spend long on this. The headline rate, so CPIH is what affects us more than CPI. And it came down from 3.7 to 3.4%. If that is true, because again, the ONS, we don't know how much we can rely on them, but they do have a lot of detailed data there. That is obviously welcome, but it's still 3.4%. And owner-occupiers peaked at 8% and has now come down 2 months in a row, is now down at 7.2%. But your owner-occupier housing costs still going up at 7%. Is a factor you've got to take into consideration when looking at the costs of owning a house. The costs are going up every year by quite a lot. Did you know that at 7% a year for 10 years. It halves the value of your money. Okay. And now fact number 5. Major lenders relax mortgage rules in a shakeup that could see average borrowers getting 38 grand more. This is my reaction to this. This is exactly the kind of lender greed for 20 years is the biggest reason why housing is so unaffordable for everyone. Okay. And down here below, Mark Tabrett, who's the chap who did the graphs I showed you on Wednesday's video about the ONS revising house prices down, is saying he actually supports it if done responsibly. And he gets into, I answered something there as well, and he then gets into a good old ding-dong with Alex Groundwater down here. And Alex and I both agree that extending the amount people can borrow and increasing the amount people can borrow based on their wages is only going to have the effect of making housing affordability worse. It might mean that those people borrowing can afford a place they couldn't otherwise afford, but it leaves more people behind. So this is a debate Mark and I have not yet had, and I'd like to have it out, and it's an interesting one because there is some subtlety and nuance in the argument. But if you suddenly give first-time buyers an extra 40 grand, that's going to put house prices up. And that's the last thing that we need as a country, is yet more money being sucked out of the economy by house prices. All right, guys, that is the full 5 facts for the day. Now, before I show you that final clip of The Big Short, let me just have a quick look in the live chat. Who have we got here? D. Griffo. Hi there. Good evening. No, it was just after midnight when I started. That's why I said good morning. Good morning. So Mega Jewel for currency, Jose Libero, Carlos, Little Carol. Hi there. Clayton Jane, Ricky Heath, Bonoit. Man About the House. Piecemeal, Liam. Now let me see. Yeah, D. Griffo says that it was one of Steve Carell's best roles, in my opinion. Perfectly showed the utter disbelief at the ignorance that caused the 2008 crisis. And it is exactly that ignorance amongst ordinary home movers that I am doing my best to help reduce. Do we have any questions on the 5 facts? Carlos said he got that email from Rightmove. I'm assuming you mean the one from Rightmove made you laugh out loud. Yep. Triple bypass, triple bypass says house prices set to triple by 2030. Debt psyops. Looking for any questions. So this person, Dr. 0002008, says it's not a depreciating asset. A leasehold, by its very definition, every year, it's getting smaller and smaller. You can't convert them all to freeholds. That is not true. You can extend them, but you have to, guess what? Pay to do that. They are a depreciating asset. I have owned them. I know that they're depreciating assets. In the long run, you might get temporary rises occasionally, but overall they're depreciating assets, leasehold flats. So the only people for whom it's worth owning is a landlord whose rental income more than offsets the depreciation and maintenance cost of the house. Piecemeal talks about how bad the jobs market is. I am seeing some very, very worrying signs from the jobs market, just anecdotally. Hi, Nima. Hi, Jack May. Roy Strawberry. Hi there. Paddy, Modi. Okay. Let's play. Oh, wow, Liam. That's really kind of you. Liam on YouTube says, watching your channel makes saving for a house deposit more bearable. Thanks, Charlie, for such a insightful comment. Always, you are very welcome. And just a message to everyone who's listening to this on the audio podcast, because I never acknowledge you guys enough. And there's a lot of you who listen to this on audio podcast. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, and I put a link to it in the description in YouTube as well for those of you who want to find it and listen to audio if you haven't got time to watch the video. I did invite Stig on tonight, but he has other plans this evening of a domestic nature. It's his other half's birthday, and they're eating steak and drinking 12-year-old whiskey. So good for them. Oh, wow. D. Griffith says, funny you mentioned the increase in mortgage allowance from the banks. I just received my AIP, my agreement in principle, of around 5.5 times mine and my partner's joint salary. That's if I fancied like fucking myself over. Exactly. Triple Bypass says you're turning work down at the moment. What field is that in? Interesting to know what line of work you're in. So guys, let me show you. I do recommend you go and watch the whole of The Big Short if you haven't seen it. And by the way, the other very good film that's a bit more sort of for the finance crowd is called Margin Call. Got Kevin Spacey and Jeremy Irons in it. That's also a very, very good film. Not quite as broad an appeal as The Big Short has, but still a very, very good film if you like that kind of stuff. Yes, Carol, I do have thoughts about jobs, AI taking jobs. But let me play this clip first, right? So if you want to watch The Big Short, the whole film, don't watch this next clip that I'm about to play. No, not you, Sasha. Where is it? Here it is. I found it. Okay. Okay, this is about 3 minutes, guys.
Mark. Paulson and Bernanke just left the White House. There's going to be a bailout.
Well, they had to. Right? I mean, paper markets would have
They
collapsed.
knew.
Cash would have stopped coming out of ATMs. They had to backstop this.
They knew the taxpayers would bail them out. They weren't being stupid. They just didn't care.
Yeah, because they're fucking crooks. But
At least we're going to see some of them go to jail. Right? I mean, they're going to have to break up the banks.
I mean, the party's over.
I don't know. I have a feeling that in a few years, people are going to be doing what they always do when the economy tanks. They will be blaming immigrants and poor people.
But Mark was wrong. In the years that followed, hundreds of bankers and rating agencies executives went to jail. The SEC was completely overhauled, and Congress had no choice but to break up the big banks and regulate the mortgage and derivatives industries. Just kidding. Banks took the money the American people gave them and they used it to pay themselves huge bonuses and lobby the Congress to kill big reform. And then they blamed immigrants and poor people. And this time, even teachers. And when all was said and done, only one single banker went to jail. This poor schmuck, Kareem Sarah-Geldin from Credit Suisse. He hit a few billion in mortgage bond losses, something most of the big banks did on a good day during the crisis.
Mark, can we sell now?
I mean, the fund will make almost $1 billion. You'll clear 200 mil, Mark.
You know, once we sell, we'll be just like the rest of them. You know that.
No, we're not. We're not the bad guys here. We didn't defraud the American people and prey on their dreams of owning a home. All right, they did.
Now we get to kick them in the teeth.
$1 billion.
That's right. But we got to close out our position or it could be zero. I mean, it's now or never. market.
Okay. Sell it all.
$5 trillion disappeared. 8 million people lost their jobs, 6 million people lost their homes, and that was just in America. It's a great film. Go and watch it because, and the reason you should watch it, even if you watch that clip and you haven't seen the whole film, I still recommend you go and watch it because what you will learn about how the system works and about how even the whole banking industry didn't see it coming and how they got caught out and why it ended up in a financial crisis. It's really insightful and really, really interesting. Yeah, Triple Bypass says, my problem is where to put my money so it does not lose value. That is a problem a lot of people have got at the moment. And Paddy O'Shaughnessy this is a very funny quote from the film. Ryan Gosling's character says it, I'm jacked to the death. It is a funny scene, that scene. Paddy says, in fairness, the people take the mortgages, no one is forcing them. The problem is with that approach is that there are people who, for perfectly reasonable reasons, want a home, but they don't have the capacity to understand the risk they're taking on. And for those who say, well, then they shouldn't take a mortgage or they shouldn't be given a mortgage. What do you mean? What are you saying? That they don't deserve a home? I know mortgage brokers who are qualified mortgage brokers who don't understand how mortgages work. They just understand how to fill out application forms, right? It's really complicated to understand the true extent of the commitment you're taking on and the long-term effect on your life. And I understand why people just want a home. They don't want a king landlord anymore. They don't want to be living with the risk of being moved out or with a landlord who won't maintain the property correctly. They want to own their own home. They want to buy and pay off their own home. And that is a good aspiration for anyone and for everyone. And mortgages are complicated as hell when you start reading the. And a lot of people, good, honest, hardworking people, just aren't capable of fully understanding the risks. And in particular, the risks when the global economic situation changes and why that changes the risks. It's like, hang on a second, I'm just buying my home and I'm paying for my home. What have I done wrong? And the number of people who end up through no fault of their own, losing their job because their employer goes bust, the economy is tanked, the jobs market is tanked, they can't get another job. I had a conversation with someone in this situation today. And suddenly they can't pay their mortgage through no fault of their own, right? And then they have a home repossessed. And I don't care that it's only a small number of people that happens to. It is life-ruiningly awful when that happens to people. It's so. I keep on getting people saying, "Oh, why are you trying to say it's all doom and gloom?" The whole industry of selling houses and selling mortgages does nothing to make people aware of the true risks. Your house is at risk if you do not keep up with repayments or other loans secured on it. Yes, we've all heard that and we've all seen it. But you look around and what do you see? You see Rightmove saying house prices are going up to records and you see everyone paying off their mortgage and it looks okay. So you do it. D. Griffo, I agree. Paddy's statement ignores the fact that people who aren't financially savvy put their trust in banks who do not care if they repossess your house 12 months down the line. Correct. Paddy, it's not insane that someone doesn't understand amortization on a mortgage. There was a time that you didn't understand it before you learnt about it. There was a time that all of us didn't understand it. And no one, if you don't know what amortization is, you don't even know to ask, what is it? No one tells you about it. Fucking brokers don't tell you about it. And yet, Mindcash makes the valid point. The bank lender owns the home until the loan is paid off in full. Thus, householder owns a title deed, a piece of paper. That's correct. It's a little bit like when you buy a car on finance. You get the V5 registration document that you are the registered keeper. You're not the owner. The finance company owns the car until you've paid it off. Wow. I've never seen that phrase before. Ignorance is a sweet worth eating as long as the ingredients are safe. Very interesting saying. I haven't heard that before. And Paddy, I do agree with that. Mortgage brokers, well, it's actually more the brokers than the agents need to be heavily regulated. The agents aren't selling mortgages. The agents are just brokering a transaction between two other people. And actually, regulation won't solve the biggest problems in a estate agency. But yeah, the agents do trick people in the large corporate world. They do trick people horribly. And it is people's biggest financial decision of their lives. Quite right. Unemployment to reach 8%. Don't overreach. Mindcash, you're a new name. I don't recognize that name, but that is exactly what Alex Housing Stig has been saying for a long time. Anyway, so back to little Carol's question. Little Carol on YouTube asks, hi Charlie, just wondered if you had any thoughts about jobs being taken by AI. I heard 8 million jobs at risk in the UK. So I'm already using AI, and I'm gradually using it more and more. And I can tell you that I'm bootstrapping a startup, right? Best Stage at my property site is a startup, and I'm on limited funds to grow that. And I can tell you right now that AI has done, on certain bits of work we're doing and certain projects, it has done unbelievable work in that would have taken a highly educated person weeks, and it did it for me in minutes, literal minutes. Like, this is I'm doing a fundraising round for Best Agent, and this is like an executive summary that I got done for it. And the work that went into producing that and the financial projections and all of that kind of stuff, I used Grok, and it was mind-blowingly good. I uploaded all the spreadsheet, the 5-year financial projections and everything, and the analysis was, and I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've worked with finance directors and accountants and MBA people with MBAs who are analysts, ex-Goldman Sachs people, and none of them were as good, let alone as fast, as Grok was in the analysis of the spreadsheet, finding potential like question marks over, is this right? Does that look right? And putting together the commentary as well. It was amazing. So yes, little Carol, AI is already doing work that means employers like me don't need as many people as we would have. Now, for me as a startup, running a startup guy, this is amazing. It's like, I don't have the budget for those guys at the moment, so wicked. It's actually helping me do stuff. But as I grow, I can see that I won't need to employ, as Best Agent grows, I won't need to employ as many people as I would have. And everyone that I do employ is going to need to get used to using AI, because if you understand how to use it, and it's easy to start with, it's not complicated. You just ask it questions. And the more questions you ask it, the more you start to figure out how it can help you, what it can do for you, and it can answer you almost any question. And it's mind-blowing, some of the questions that you can ask it. And for anyone thinking that AI sounds too scary to use, I cannot tell you strongly enough that it's easy. If you know how to ask a question, that's all you need to do to start using AI. And you can ask it anything. That is not always completely correct. It's not perfect, but it's quite incredible. So I think that the real value in AI is not full automation of certain stuff. That's not where the real value lies. The real value lies in the combination of a person in a role using AI as an accelerator, as an augmenter, as a turbocharger, if you like, because that's where, if every individual has an AI assistant or an AI at their disposal, they'll be able to produce much more complicated pieces of work much faster, and it's amazing. Now, is it going to take jobs? I don't know. Is it going to change the working landscape unrecognizably? 100% yes, it is. It's going to change it. But what I'm saying is, even if you're someone who's in your later years and you've never used computers and you find them overwhelming and terrifying, for me, Grok is the best I've used, right? It's actually beating all the others in reasoning tests. It was the fastest growing one in terms of going from 0 to where it is now. I also find it the easiest to use. And trust me, just look it up, right? You need an X account to use it. It's free. There are the more basic version is free. If you become an X premium member, then you get the full blown version. And you can upload script, you can upload documents, you can upload spreadsheets to it and ask it, say, what do you think? Has this got mistakes in it? You can literally talk to it like a human. It is mind blowing, the results you get from it. You can ask it health stuff. You can ask it questions about symptoms that you've got if you're not feeling very well and work out whether you need to go to the doctor or not. It's truly astonishing in many, many ways. And you don't need to know anything about computers to use it. And whether you want to use it just to research your favorite hobby, or whether you want to use it to help you with a piece of work, or whether you want to use it to research other things you've got to do, give it a try. I can't recommend it strong enough. And everyone who does start to get used to using AI on a regular routine basis, and you can have it on your phone, you can have the app on your phone. I've got the Grok app right here. That's Grok right there. And you can talk to it. Hi, Grok. I'm in the middle of a live... It's not Grok, it's Ara, isn't it? Hi, Ara. I'm in the middle of a live stream with my audience on Moving Home with Charlie channel, and I'm just demonstrating to them how AI can work.
Hey there. You're right. I go by Ara with my female voice. Super cool that you're showcasing AI on your live stream with the Million Charlie channel audience. I'm happy to help demonstrate how I work. What's something fun or useful you'd like me to do for your viewers? Maybe answer a question about the Golf GTE? Share.
It'll start referring to previous questions you've asked it, by the way. So it is amazing. There are other ones as well. And yes, correct. It's not AI. It is a large language model, but it is still fascinating. So yeah, like I said, Mike 13, there are issues. It's not perfect, but for a lot of stuff, it's really, really good. Have a go. But for those of you feeling threatened by AI in terms of your employment prospects, just start using it. It's free. If you've got a smartphone or a computer, you can start using it. It's free. And you can talk to it like a person. And you cannot ask it a stupid question. It'll just, whatever you ask it, it will answer. It's amazing. Not perfect. You want to get more technical stuff. Yes, it can make mistakes, but generally speaking, Triple Bypass says she sounds like a dull date. It's fascinating. You can actually ask for all different kinds of.
All right, let's have some.
No, you can. They're all different kinds of characters, and she'll answer you in a different character. Anyway. Yeah, Ant H says AI is the next big thing. It will change things massively, but the putting numbers on job losses can't be done as we don't know exactly how to perform itself in the workplace. I agree with that, Ant H. I agree with that completely. But I do think that the impact of AI on society and the world is going to be the same as the impact of the internet was when it came along. Two things to note about that. The impact of the internet was bigger than anyone could ever have foreseen, but it was also a bit slower than people expected. I suspect the impact from AI is going to be faster than the impact of the internet was back in the 90s. But I still think it's got a long way to go before we start seeing make massive, massive changes to the world. AM says, I think AI is great, but I still think it's a bad idea to consider taking out a very long-term mortgage when the job market is set to be taken over by AI. The jobs market is not set to be taken over by AI. The way businesses run is set to be massively modified by AI. That's the way I'd say it. Okay, guys. It's very late. It's coming up for 1 o'clock in the morning. I can't believe there's so many of you here. But if you're watching this over the Easter weekend, hope you're having a lovely Easter. I'm recording this late on Thursday night, early Friday morning, so that I can just actually have a proper 4-day break, because I haven't had a break for a while. So I'm looking forward to that. So does anyone have any last minute questions they want to ask before I go? Is there a GILF character? Come on. AI can't clean toilets, cook meals, and look after kids. Correct at the moment. However, when these robots start to be released in larger numbers, and they are physical robots with AI, they will be able to start doing some of those things. And I think cooking meals is a really interesting one. That'll be a major, major, major breakthrough if they can do it. And I actually think that they're going to surprise you how fast they will be able to do that. It's not yet, but it's going to happen faster than you think. There's a lot of stuff they can do. That's a good question, Paddy. Can they 3D? They can 3D print houses. Yes, they can 3D print houses. That is true. That is true. Winston Fahrenheit says, can you make it sound like that AI computer from Blake Seven's ORAC? That would be funny. Let me ask it. That would be funny. Ara, can I make you sound like that AI computer from Blake Seven's ORAC?
Oh, I love the creativity. You're wanting me to channel ORAC, the sassy supercomputer from Blake 7 with its iconic, slightly smug tone. While I can't directly mimic ORAC's exact voice or sound effects, my vocal setup sticks to my clear female tone. I can absolutely lean into his personality, think curt, intellectual, and a touch condescending, like I'm begrudgingly sharing my vast knowledge. Want me to answer a question or explain something in that ORAC-style vibe? For example, I can talk about...
Okay, tell me how long it would take to get across the galaxy in the style of ORAC.
A query as simplistic as it is imprecise. Very well. I shall indulge you. Traversing the galaxy, presumably this Milky Way, a barred spiral of approximately 100,000 light years in diameter, depends on propulsion technology far beyond your primitive Volkswagen Golf GTE. Assuming a hypothetical spacecraft with a propulsion system approaching...
All right, we get the idea. We get the idea. So she can't do the actual voice, but yeah, they can do personalities, but not the exact voice by the sound of things. All right, guys. Okay, that's a good question, AM. What forfeit should I do when my YouTube channel reaches 30,000 subscribers?
Sigh. Another frivolous human request that I suppose I, ORAC, must deign to respond with my unparalleled intellect. For your so-called YouTube channel reaching 30,000 subscribers, a trivial milestone by cosmic standards, I propose a forfeit that balances your audience's amusement with a modicum of dignity.
Oh, stop talking about the golf again. Yeah, that's true. Good night, Jack May. But this is very true. Lawyers, accountants, management consultants will need to rethink their billable hour rip-off model. That is very true. That those sorts of professions are the ones probably most at risk from value destruction. And what they need to do, if those particular roles start to embrace and use AI, then they'll be able to be adding much more value in less time to their clients and will be able to keep their billing up. But I've heard of management consulting firms who have actually banned their staff from using AI. That is the most backwards looking, stupid, self-defeating decision that only a management consultant could come up with. Little Carol says, we're all enjoying an Easter party in your kitchen. I don't want to go home yet. That's nice. Play the drums. I could play the drums. I'm not doing it tonight. I've got children sleeping in the house. Right. Yeah, everyone's saying drums. I can't end with a drum solo tonight. But hey, everybody, it's been great fun having your company tonight. It's time to go. I need to go to sleep. I'm actually going to get up very early, traveling tomorrow. Remember, just if you are buying, be prepared. Have your mortgage and principal ready and your conveyance lined up and such, and proof of your deposit funds. Don't overpay. Don't overpay. And if you're selling, don't overprice. And on that happy note, I'm going to leave that on the screen and say I will see you all next week. Have a great Easter. Happy Easter, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, guys. Bye, Ricky, D. Griffo, Carlos, Triple Bypass, Kang. Finish with the slurp. Here we go. Slurping cold tea somehow isn't quite the same. Happy Easter, guys. Bye-bye.